Flooding is coming to downtown Olympia due to a number of climate change factors, such as sea level rise, river and lake flooding, superstorms, 100-year floods, and the land sinking. It's happening sooner than you think, and it's going to affect everyone who lives and works in Thurston County. How and when will this affect you and me, even if we don't live and work in downtown Olympia? We'll explore this complex issue in a multi-part video series. Join me as we learn how climate change, sea level rising, and flooding will impact all of us. I'm Paul Enns, and I'll be your host and guide in this series. We'll learn why and how this is happening, and what our local government agencies are doing to adapt to these upcoming events. The good news is that our local agencies have developed a plan to address sea level rise and associated flooding. And that plan will be the foundation and the basis of this video series. The Olympia Sea Level Rise Response Plan was started in 2017 and published in March of 2019. It's a living document that will be amended and updated as new information presents itself. This report is publicly available on the City of Olympia website. The plan has many components. You're probably asking yourself, why should you care? Especially if you don't live, work, or play downtown.
If we had an event where the salt water rose up and got into those inlets and it exceeded that rather large capability of the plant, then we would have to bypass it and basically shunt that water out directly into the sound.
If flooding salt water gets into the machinery or the processing tanks, we're all in deep shit. Another facility in danger of flooding is the Olympia Center, home of the Senior Center.
The Olympia Center is an activity center in downtown Olympia. We host senior services for South Sound. We host recreation activities, and we host community meetings. So the Senior Center is run by Senior Services for South Sound. They're a local nonprofit. They have a lease with the city for the building space. But the building was built with them in mind, and the voters chose to build this facility knowing that they would house the Senior Center.
There are recreational facilities such as Heritage Park and Percival Landing, as well as a number of businesses and restaurants. The Port of Olympia owns 150 acres in downtown Olympia. This Port of Olympia facility is an essential component of the economic viability of the area. Besides the shipping facility, Swantown Boat Works hauls over 500 boats a year. The Olympia Farmers Market is located on port property. The East Bay Trail is owned and sustainably managed by the port. Swantown Marina is the 7th largest marina in the state of Washington. Preserving this infrastructure from damaging flooding is critical to the people of Thurston County.
You know, what's at risk is pretty big, I think, and it's not just the assets that we have here, but I think it's really our relationship with the sea. And, you know, in my mind, human beings have always been drawn to the sea. It is where we have gotten our food. It is where we have gone for solace. It is the interface of trade and transportation. And so I think what's at risk is really how are we as humans going to be able to adapt and adapt quickly enough and smartly enough over the coming century.
Flooding will come from 3 sources: high tides, storm drain system backup, and river and lake overflow. These are detailed in what's called 100-year storm tide. If nothing is done, these 100-year storm tide events will happen more often. It only takes one big flood to cause extensive damage.
But I want to give people hope because we do have a plan.
The city of Olympia is important to us. It is incredibly important to us because we as a people, we're the Squaxin Island tribe, named after the reservation that we were put on in 1854. Before that, we were a series of bands of people who lived throughout South Puget Sound. One of those bands of people lived where the city of Olympia is now. And we call them the Stitch-ass people. And they lived there since time immemorial. And they stewarded those lands and took care of those lands forever. And that area, the Deschutes Waterway, the South Salish Sea, that Olympia area is sacred to us. And so it's important that we have relationships with those local governments, whether it be the city of Olympia, Thurston County, the Port of Olympia. Those relationships are incredibly important to us to kind of set that foundation so that we can help make sure that that area, both environmentally and economically, is viable for the future.
This video series will consist of a number of episodes. The goal is to engage, inform, and entertain you. In the second episode, we'll review the science of climate change and show how a number of events come together to cause flooding. Sea levels rising, ground levels sinking, higher tides, and more intense storms. The series will explore all the buildings, structures, and services that could be in danger of floodwaters based on projected flooding maps. We'll highlight the risks and vulnerabilities. What will this cost and where will the funds come from? During this program, we'll show how the three agencies will work together to coordinate their efforts and to adapt to flooding and share their costs and resources. We'll move on to show what adaptation measures have been taken, such as floodgates, modifying the shoreline, and new building requirements, and how the phased approach will unfold over the next few years. Last, we'll review how we'll monitor and re-evaluate all the variables that could impact the implementation of the plan, and what we predict the future will hold for Thurston County residents. Till then, stay healthy, safe, and dry.